Hi, welcome. So we'll continue with our DSA data structures and algorithms with CPP. Yeah, this is week 0. I'm recording for week 0, which is essentially the refresher of C++ concepts. Yeah, so I'm here in github.com simplify learning 101. If I go here into C++ cohort, this is the actual course repo. We will continue to have weeks 10 content here. Right now I'm on the home page type of location. You can actually go through the content. I have explained this in the previous video. So now we'll go for this week 0 content in this video. In maybe in couple of next 3-4 videos, I will try to cover week 0 content. Yeah. So if I go inside in the link, this is essentially week 0 content. Even here you can see here, this is week 0 readme file. And in this we have actually around 8 parts covering the C++ quick introduction of concepts. We are not going deep dive of C++. This is just a refresher thing. Yeah. So we start with variables, data types, operators, decision making, loops, functions, arrays, pointers, references, and strings, and these kind of thing. Yeah. Normally, how do you consume this course is you will go through the content of this, which I'm going to explain today. And then you will do some homework stuff. You will also see the solutions for those homework, and then you can attempt the quiz. Yeah? So let's start with the first part of this: variables, data types, and operators. Very pretty basic thing of C++. Yeah. So the topic that we are covering under this is 4 things: variables and data types, input and output operations, operators, and a basic C++ program structure. Yeah. Now, what is a variable and what is data type? Yeah, I'm pretty sure since you have already learned C++, you must be aware of variables and data types. But just as a refresher, variables are like containers in your kitchen. Yeah. So essentially, if your program is handling data, obviously most of the programs will handle the data. So if you're handling the data, you will end up using variables in your programs to store that data, right? So whenever you have a variable in your program, obviously there will be data type requirements. Yeah, because C++ being a strongly compiled language, it enforces the variables to be declared first before using it. Yeah, that's the difference between Python and C++. Python allows you to start using variables without any declarations, but in C, Java type of programs, you have to declare a variable first. Yeah. That's what we are doing it in this program. If you see this sample program, right, there are 4 variables: age, height, initial, and eStudent. So 4 variables are declared, and when we say a variable is declared, we are actually telling compiler, this is my variable, which is going to be holding a number type of thing. That's why I wanted to represent with a data type called int. Yeah. So by specifying the variable data type as int, I am telling compiler that I am going to hold an integer type of number in this variable. So variable is essentially a name given to memory location where you're going to store the data. Yeah. So in this example, a variable age is declared, which is of type int, as well as it is assigned the value, which is 25. Yeah. Same thing, a height has been declared, which is again a number type, but this time it is a decimal number, a double precision decimal number. So that's why it is declared as double. Yeah. Now, third variable, which is an initial, which is expected to hold a character type of data. So that's why it is declared as char. And the last one is eStudent. It's kind of like a flag, whether it is a student or not. So we have used a variable, a data type called bool. Yeah. So this is how you declare a variable and you use it. Yeah. We're just printing the content here. That's about the variables and data type. So very important thing to know, in C++, just like C, Java, you have to declare a variable before using it. Yeah, that is important. And by declaring a variable, you are telling compiler what type of data it is going to hold. So the moment you declare like this, compiler does two things, or it is two things for compiler. One is compiler knows how much memory should be allocated to hold this data, and it is called age. So the memory location is now called as age in this program, right? So how much memory it should allocate for this. And second thing is, it will always ensure if you end up, for example, in this case age, if you end up storing 25.6 for example, then what to do with that? It is not an integer type of data, right? What to do with that? So this is why we need to declare a variable, and you can use it. Yeah. So that's how variables and data types work. Yeah. Now next is input output operations. In C++, you obviously know that we have cin and cout, two objects available, references available as part of the std library, which is available as part of IOStream. Yeah. So all you'll be using is cin and cout for reading and for outputting your data, right? So this program explains that particular piece. We normally cin and cout are namespaced under std, so that's why we're explicitly saying I wanted to use the namespace std here, using namespace std. Yeah. Then you can always, like, we're declaring a name variable which is of type string, a quantity variable which is of type integer, and then I'm asking, okay, enter your name. So cout is like printf in your C, right? And cin is going to read the content into name. Similarly, I'm asking another message, and then I'm reading the integer number. Yeah. Now I'm just outputting it. That's it, in a formatted way. Yeah. It should be like only this much endl, because we're explicitly declaring namespace std. Yeah. You can remove that. Yeah. So that's how your input output operators work. Yeah. So next is operators. We all know, like, okay, we have multiple different types of operators available in C++: arithmetic operators, relational, logical, and assignment operators, shorthand operators, and all that stuff. Yeah. You can always use the operators this way. Yeah. That's the operators thing. And now coming last to the basic program structure. Normally every C++ program, or in fact C, Java, any language if you take, they will have a structure. Yeah. So in most of your C++ programs, you will see that you will be including the required header libraries, and most of the time, since you end up using cin and cout, you will declare that you are using the namespace std. Yeah. Otherwise, if you don't do this, then cin and cout and associated things should be used with the namespace specifiers like this. Yeah. This is wrong here. We are declaring it here, so this is not required. But if you're frequently using in your program, you normally specify this way, and then you start up using cin, cout, etc. Yeah. And you don't need to specify like std endl type of thing. Yeah. Endl represents the end line. Yeah. Just like /n type of thing. Yeah. So that's the basic program structure. So we were here. You will have an include. You will have the namespace specifier here, and then every C++ program will have a main function. In C++, the main function is expected to return int. That's why we always have this return 0. 0 indicates whenever program completes, we are telling the underlying operating system that my program has successfully run. Returning 0 means it's successful. Anything non-zero, normally like -1 is what we return if we encounter any problem in executing the program. Yeah. But anyway, this is how your basic C++ program is going to look like. Obviously, you will have functions and other stuff, but normally this is how the structure is going to look like. Yeah. So that's the content for this particular hour. Some points to remember from interview point of view. Understand the data type sizes, which is very important. That's why we have different data types, right? Integer expects 4 byte, for example. It's again platform dependent, compiler dependent, but normally integer is going to hold 4 bytes of memory. Float, double, char, they have different sizes, so you should understand the size, which is very important. And it is more important because when we play with huge amount of data, then every one variable, if you end up, for example, instead of int, if you take long, which is going to take a huge memory, and if you are not really needed that level of memory requirement, then it's a waste of memory. And when we talk about small simple programs, that's okay, but when we are talking about huge data like billions of records, then every 1 byte counts there. So that's why data types are very important. You should know what data type consumes what type of size. Know the difference between signed and unsigned types, which is very important. Normally last highest bit is used for signed and unsigned purpose. So signed and unsigned, whenever you're sure that you're only using positive numbers, you can always declare an unsigned integer. By doing that, you actually gain or you're not wasting 1 bit of memory for signed purpose, so you end up using that for your data requirement. You should be aware of operator precedence. This is just like your regular mathematics, but slightly different in computer science. So you should know that a plus b into c, here b into c is executed first and the result is added with a. So you should know that, and you should always use brackets to make sure that what precedence you really want, you always have that type of precedence. Now use this particular instead of /n for output, because endl always flashes the buffer. Always handle input validation. For example, cin basically can read literally anything, multiple lines of data, etc. Unlike C. So cin more powerful. So you should always ensure, if you are looking for integer data, user might end up entering string type of data, then you should not using essentially string converted integer for your operations. Ensure you are always validating your input data. These are all the things that play very important thing when you are actually preparing for interview. Now rest of the things you can always read through. Remember hash include, because that is where you are going to include your library and all that stuff, and these kind of things. So this hour was very simple. It's all about variables, data types, and input and output operators, operations, and then actual operators available, basic program structures, and this kind of thing. So in the next video we will look at the other piece, but before winding up this, ensure that you go to homework. So there are homework questions here, around 15 very simple questions. It talks about write a program to declare and print 3 variables of different type. And important thing here is like some sort of formatted input, like if I'm giving age as 30, salary as something, and grade as this, I'm expected to print something like this. So try it out. Similarly, another program for something else like this. 15 programs are there. Try these things yourself first. Ensure that the outcome is printed as expected. And if you stuck for any reason, you can always go and then look at the solutions. These solutions are not necessarily the best in class solutions, right? This is one possible solution, but your solution might be better than this. So attempt it first before actually jumping onto looking at solutions. Then finally a quiz, just to refresh your knowledge. So it talks about what is a variable in C++. Try attempt these 30 quiz before actually start looking at the solutions for it. Attempt it, try it out. If you encounter problem, go back, refresh your C++ knowledge and reattempt it again. These should not be problematic for you, because these are all very fundamental things. So this is essentially the first part of it. Yeah. So in the next video, we'll go to the decision making and loops piece.